There's an awful lot to get through, but of course only one place to start. Thomas Tuchel has made it his mission to get England over the line in a major tournament for the first time since 1966. Tuchel has become the third non-English head coach to take on the role, following in the footsteps of Sven-Göran Eriksson and Fabio Capello. Tuchel, who has won the biggest club prize in football, the Champions League, doesn't believe his nationality should be a cause for concern and believes he deserves a fair chance to succeed.
I'm sorry, I just have a German passport, but I can just tell them, and maybe all of these supporters also felt my passion for the English Premier League, my passion for the country, how I love to live here and how I love to work here. So my memories are on the highest level of that played a huge role. And hopefully I can convince them and show them and prove them that I'm proud to be the English manager. I will do everything to show respect to this role and to this country. And the target for the next 18 months is nothing else than the biggest one in world football, and everyone can be assured of, no matter what nationality my passport says. Everyone has its opinion, and I can understand even an opinion when someone says, like, I would fancy an English coach more for the English team. I can understand it, but I think we deserve a fair chance. We deserve the credit for having a good record in the country, for never being shy of how much we love to live in the country and how much we enjoy to work with the players in Premier League. So maybe this counts a little bit for a British edge on my German passport, and so we will try to convince them by results and by the way we play. I understood very quickly that it's a big job. I think it's always the job you're in is the biggest job that you don't get, and it does not make a lot of sense to compare. But it feels big, and it feels, like I said, like a privilege. It is very new because I come from club football, so the rhythm, the responsibility, the role is a new role, which is also very exciting. I was very open for that and liked the idea of it. I always wanted to come back to England. That was my big goal. I have the best memories of the country, of the league and of the players. The attitude towards the game, the attitude from the supporters who that shapes the players, and the character of the players was one of a kind. And that's why the offer came in the absolutely right time. We kept the momentum in, and within weeks we found a vision to share and a project and an adventure that I'm very happy to be a big part of. And now I have to live up to it, of course. And I know that there are some trophies missing in the federation, and of course I want to help to make it happen. I felt already excited, and that it suited my passion and my strive to push this group of players and to be part of this federation with such a strong record in the last tournaments, to push it over the line and to try to put a second star on the shirt.
OK, we're going to get straight to Wembley then. Our senior reporter Rob Dorset was, of course, asking the questions a little earlier. Lots of reporters there today. Of course, the media gathered, desperate to find out what he was going to say, how he was going to be, how he was going to approach this. Is the feeling about how he did in his first news conference pretty positive? Is everyone feeling, good about this?
I think they are, Hayley, in truth. Yeah, I think it was a very impressive first news conference from the New England manager. Look, it's a bit of a honeymoon period, let's be absolutely honest. He was never going to be thrown some really tough curveballs today. It was a bit of a phony war, if you like, in that regard. I think they'll be tougher for Thomas Tuchel to face in the future. But of course, he knew he was going to get asked about the fact that he's the first German coach ever to take charge of the England national team. He knew he was going to get asked about some pretty strong headlines from some of the tabloid newspapers last night, and he handled it with a smile on his face and with a real charm. Look, we knew from his time at Chelsea and in Champions League matches for Bayern Munich, for Paris Saint-Germain, for Dortmund, that he's very good in front of the media. You tend to forget that English is his second language. He is so eloquent, he's such a good linguist. And that came across today. He charmed the England reporters that were there, I think, to a large extent. And as you heard from that little montage we just played, he coped with the difficult questions very, very well, humbly apologising for his nationality and the fact that he's got a German passport. He understands there are a lot of people out there who would like the England manager, the man in charge, the person in charge of the men's national team, to be an English coach. And I thought it was significant that Mark Bullingham also said there's a dearth of young English coaches coming through as far as he's concerned, and that, especially at top level, not enough of them are being given the chance to win trophies. That is a discussion for another day, and a really significant one. But yeah, on first impressions, we saw the Thomas Tuchel we saw for so much of the time at Chelsea. A diplomat, an orator, and a blooming good coach. And that's what the FA think they've got.
And we know they've given him a contract for just 18 months. Any chance it could go beyond the World Cup in 2026? Why do we feel it was 18 months?
Yeah, look, I wondered when it was such a short contract that was announced by the FA, that whether there was some issue with his remaining contract with Bayern Munich. Remember, his contract with Bayern Munich, after he left in May, runs until June next year. And I wondered, well, I wonder if it's going to cost the FA an awful lot of money to get him out early, and so they decided they didn't want to pay that money and get him over for a couple of Nations League games next month. But no, Thomas Tuchel himself and Mark Bullingham said that it was the mutual decision that his job should start in January and that it should run for 18 months until after the World Cup. But if you have a listen to what Thomas Tuchel says, he's certainly got it in his mind that if things go well and he enjoys the role, he may well want to extend that contract.
Let's see. It's 18 months, and then we agreed to sit together, and then we see. I mean, I have good experience with 18 months personally. Unfortunately, also sometimes I'm working on my long-term game, but you never know. The point was in this particular case that it was important for me to have a frame around it, because it's a little bit a step into the unknown for me. I am used to work on a daily basis with the staff. I'm used to work with a daily basis on the team, to have the influence on 60, 80 people in a training camp on every single day, to be 3 days a week away in hotel rooms and prepare matches. And this will be very different. So like the last piece of bit for me to understand that this is something that can really excite me to the fullest, and was the time frame of 18 months. To not also and to also to demand from myself to not lose the focus for all of us. So I think it's a good time frame, because it will help us to focus. We are focused on the qualification and on the World Cup. It will help us in the nomination process. It will help us in the communication towards the players within the staff. So I think this is now very streamlined and very easy to explain. We are here to work on the best possible outcome for the World Cup 26, and then let's see. Whatever comes.
And we heard, Rob, didn't we, Tuchel earlier saying he's going to have to win over the England fans. Do you think singing the national anthem is going to be an issue, particularly with his nationality?
Well, he's kicked that can down the road a little bit, hasn't he, in the answer that he gave. We'll play that to you in just a moment. But I don't think Thomas Tuchel would have been surprised at all that issue came up. He would have been prepared for that, I think, from the FA communications team, because it's been a moot point and a discussion in recent times with Lee Carsley, hasn't it, the interim manager who's still in place at the moment. That quite ludicrous discussion in some areas of the media and with some England fans and some former England players who suggested that an Irishman who played 40 times for the Republic of Ireland was in some way unpatriotic or not fitting for the job if he didn't sing the great British national anthem. I thought that debate might have moved on a little bit from then, but it was thrown at Thomas Tuchel, and he says he's going to have a good think about it.
I have not made my decision yet. I want to be very honest with you. Your anthem is very moving. The English anthem is very moving. I experienced it several times here at Wembley, and even out with the players in a FA Cup final. So it was very touching. No matter what decision I will take, we have a bit time until March. I will always show my respect to my new role, to the country, and of course to a very moving anthem. But as this is a new subject, I will take a little bit time for this decision.
Now, Rob, Mark Bullingham talked a lot more about the process and that they did speak to English candidates. What more do we know?
Yeah, 10 candidates they spoke to, apparently, which came as a bit of a surprise, I think you have to say. Look, the FA stuck to their guns and said this was going to be a confidential process and they wouldn't give any briefings on the matter. They wouldn't talk to anybody about the process that they put in place to try and recruit the successor to Gareth Southgate. And they have kept very tight-lipped since July. In fact, you have to say it's extraordinary that they put a statement out earlier today confirming Thomas Tuchel in position, saying that actually they'd reached full agreement and he'd signed the contract at the start of last week, and none of that had leaked out. So I suppose they'll think they did a pretty good job of that. But it has led to a lot of speculation. It has led to a lot of questions about, well, how thorough was this process exactly? And so that was a question I put directly to Mark Bullingham, the chief executive.
The whole process was confidential, and I understand at times that might have been frustrating for people, but we had to maintain that confidentiality for us, but also really more importantly for the candidates. So I'll say a few things, but I'll hold it at that. So we interviewed approximately 10 people, and we did interview some English candidates within that we wanted the very best person for the job, and we feel like we owe it to the players and the country to give them that support, that leadership in tournaments that will help to get them over the line and give us the best chance of winning a trophy in the Men's World Cup. So we feel we've done that. We feel delighted that Thomas has joined us.
That was Mark Bullingham, the FA chief executive, giving his verdict on the process and why they've gone for Thomas Tuchel. It's very clear the FA are single-minded in this regard. Yes, they want somebody who's a good orator and who's got the strength of personality to cope with a difficult media spotlight at times, but he said the absolute focus was getting a winner, a coach who's got a proven track record in winning silverware, somebody who they believe can deliver major international silverware for England and the men's team for the first time since 1966. And you have to say, the way Thomas Tuchel spoke, I think all of those FA bosses will be pretty pleased with the appointment that they've made so far. It was a very impressive start.
I think you're absolutely right, Rob. Thank you very much indeed.